the wave that is not different from ocean or water, when identifies with the form, has birth, has growth, has decay, disease, decaying, and death. All of them are there for the wave. But the essence of the wave is nothing but the ocean or water. It has none of that. What can save the wave from the sufferings of birth, growth, disease, decay, and death? No action, only knowledge. Knowledge that I'm the ocean, I'm the water. So is that for us. The knowledge that we are essentially the blissful, conscious, eternal existence will save us from all the miseries that we are assuming, interpreting because of the identification with the form, the body. Like the wave identifying with the form, the wave. Identifying with this form, the body, that being finite, we feel insecure. Hence, we depend on external things to make us full and complete. And the very insecurity brings in assertion that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. One who is secure need not assert that he is the doer and the enjoyer. Remove these three things from your life. Dependence on the results, sense of doership and enjoyership, and the source, the feeling that you are the body. You are ever free from all oscillations of the mind in the form of agitations, and free from death. These words, most of us have been listening to different masters through different texts in Vedanta. Somehow we have a feeling, even these words are mystical. You have to do some sadhana. Someday something will happen. Please drop all those notions, demystify. They are so simple about you. You don't need to know 18 chapters of Gita, 11 Upanishads, and all so many Brahma Sutras and all that. Don't have to sit and concentrate, focus, do meditation, sadhana. All that is for people who have not come to the level of understanding. All of them are needed, sadhana, sitting and doing meditation, but they are for people who are not able to understand what I am telling. If there are some people who are able to understand what I am telling and able to see this consciousness to be the enlivening factor between the body, mind, intellect, and all the senses, which intuitively you can feel, because I cannot talk without that life. I cannot move my hand without that life. You cannot hear without that life. There is no difficulty in feeling that life in you. The one who can feel that life in them, as I am talking, that's the ultimate. After that, habitual things will come. Worries, anxieties, pain. Because you have been habituated to that, they will come. All that you have to do is, that's the body. No, I am not the body. That's the mind. I am not the mind. That's the intellect. I am not the intellect. Only two things. Negate what you are not, assert what you are. This is called meditation. The next chapter is on meditation. So, 5th chapter, starting with the need to drop your identification with the results and the sense of agency and the sense of enjoyership, drew our attention to the fact that we depend on external contacts for our happiness, and that is the very source of misery. You have to turn your gaze unto the self. And having turned your attention unto the self, what are you to meditate? Please understand this word meditation. It's understood differently by different people. All of them are right, but the ultimate of meditation is, I will explain to you. All of them are right. Who says, sit, quiet, don't do anything, they're right. If they say, come on, watch your breath, they are right. Watch your thoughts, they are right. Hold your thoughts, hold your breath, they're all right. None of them are wrong. Do japa, they are right. But they're all means to train the mind and intellect to focus to the self. One who has understood what is this self, constantly remembering this, that which illumines my joys and sorrows, that which illumines my comfort and pain, that which illumines my honor and dishonor, that life principle is me. To remember this constantly is called abhyasa. To detach from what you are not is called vairagya. And once you are established in this knowledge thoroughly, you no more need practice. That is called sahaja samadhi, natural state of meditation. That is the natural state of meditation, which will come to you losing duality. The way to lose duality is to see God everywhere. That is why in the 5th chapter itself, they have repeated many times. And in the end of 6th chapter, 4 verses have been given for this simple factor. Recognize the same self, which is the essence in you, to be the essence of the entire world. This is called Sarvatma Bhava. Once you gain this Sarvatma Bhava, everything is God. Duality drops, mind drops. It is the mind that gives you suffering. So this Sarvatma Bhava practice is practicing meditation. Contemplating on that is called contemplation. Having reached that state of self and abiding in that is called samadhi. This samadhi, people think it is sitting and doing and mind coming to quietude. Blank mind, all of them are right, but that's not the ultimate. Ultimate is effortlessly seeing all to be God. Pain is God, comfort is God, birth is God, death is God, honor is God, dishonor is God, friend is God, enemy is God. All of them are none but expressions of the one God, like day and night. This abidance in this knowledge is called Sahaja Samadhi, ultimate of Samadhi. But to come to this, probably you have to contemplate on some words given by the Upanishads or Gita, how to focus to the self. It's simple. You are not the BMI. You are that self, simple. But if you are not able to do, then they give you some clues, like in the 8th chapter, which is going to come, Kavim, Puranam, Anushashitaram. Like that, various words they will give you. These words are again 2 types. One is called indicative definition. That is, through the known, pointing out the unknown. Another is called descriptive definitions. Descriptive definitions are direct descriptions like Sat, Chit, Ananda. Indicative definitions are with what we know. In terms of what we know, the unknown is pointed out. That is the thing that is being pointed out in the last verse of this chapter, which we should try to feel in our own bosom. Whatever is indicated, that we have to feel in our own bosom. And having thus introduced in the last few verses the basics of meditation, the fundamental principles of meditation, and what to meditate in the 29th verse, 6th chapter starts with meditation. But really speaking, 6th chapter is also giving you various factors, preparations for meditation. Real meditation starts from the 7th chapter. This also is a good meditation, 29th verse. How do you locate this self? Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhrutam sarvabhutanam natva mam shanti mruchati. Bhoktaram, the one who enjoys all the sacrifices and austerities. Yajna tapasam. Bhoktaram, the enjoyer of yajna and tapas, sacrifices and austerities. In fact, all experiences, he has given two symbolic, but all our experiences are possible because of the presence of the consciousness. All experiences have to reach there, and then only they are illumined to you. So that is the end point of all experiences. Therefore, it is said, the self is the enjoyer of all yajna tapas. So, that doesn't give me complete idea. A point to recognize. So he gives little more detail. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Loka means field of experience. Ishvara means Lord. Maha Ishvara, the great Lord. That is, he is the one who is behind all experiences. Loka experiences. He is the one who regulates all experiences. Little more help to practice sadhana. We all complain of several problems, miseries, enemies, insecurities. At that time, if you suggest any problem that I'm getting is sent to me by the Lord, and the Lord loves all. He doesn't punish any. He knows all. He knows what exactly is happening. The experience is sent to me by God. And he knows everybody is suffering everything. And he can ward it off if he wants. He is capable of anything. Yet he didn't do. He is only sending. He is the Lord of all experience. Why is he sending to me? Because I need. Why do I need pain? Yes, pain is needed many a time. For deliverance, pain is needed. Mother delivers the baby, excruciating pain. A stone is made into a murti, chiseling is excruciating pain. The garbage that you have collected, removing that is excruciating pain. You need it. Therefore, the Lord who knows, who loves, who is capable of removing, doesn't do and sends it to you. Because you should believe in this, he himself underwent miseries that nobody underwent. Life of Rama, full of miseries. Life of Krishna, even the last minute, we think, even if we suffer, at least we should die peacefully. No, Krishna's last minute, each one of his children, grandchildren kill each other. He himself also joins the killing party. Why didn't he ward off if he can ward off? He could have easily warded off that. Rama could ward off that. No, they are meant to be. So if they are meant to be, they have taken them. You should also have that faith and take them. Therefore, this word is very beautiful for meditation and confidence. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Oh, such a big man, Lord of the entire universe. How will he know me? How will he recognize me? How will I reach him? Such a big man. No, sir. Suhridam is your well-wisher. He is your best friend. How? You may be best friend and well-wisher, some saints and sages and big people. I am an ordinary fellow. No, sir. He is the well-wisher of all. Sarva Bhutana. Suhridam Sarva Bhutana. Natva, having known me, Natva Mam, having known me, Shanti Mruchati. You shall gain total peace because now you are confident. You are not alone. Not only you are not alone, you are being taken care. Every experience that you get is what you need, like a sweet and bitter pill administered to you by that all-loving Lord. If you accept that, you may cry in pain, yet it's like the mother who is delivering the baby, cries in pain, but happy the baby is coming out. So that will be the state when you know the Lord to be Sarva Lokam Heshwaraha, Suhridaha, your best friend. That is the end of 5th chapter. Now we shall go to 6th chapter. 6th chapter is called Atma Samyama Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Anasritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Naniragnirna Chakriyaha. The usual misunderstanding of most of us. In fact, what is it we have not misunderstood? We have misunderstood our ID. We have misunderstood our source of happiness. We have misunderstood birth. We have misunderstood death. We have misunderstood God. In fact, Vedanta is not teaching, is not learning, is undoing all your misconceptions, unlearning. So, one more main thing that we all have the confusion is to associate sannyasa with certain external features. One who wears an ochre robe, one who doesn't stay at home, one who does not do any work, he has not to cook, he doesn't act, he is a sannyasi. This is our feeling. And this is exactly what Arjuna had, and therefore said, I don't want to fight this battle. I prefer to go in the path of jnana, take to sannyas. Since this is not anything to do with your dress or what you do, it's an attitude of the mind. As Gurudev says, sannyasa is not the color of the robe, it is the color of the mind. Here, Sri Krishna is explaining what is sannyasa. Anasritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti. Anasritaha. Asritaha depending. Anasritaha not depending. Karma phalam external results. Then why should you act? Karyam. At that time it has to be done. Karyam. That has to be done. Karma karoti. He who does actions. Sasanyasi cha yogi. He is at the same time a sannyasi and a karma yogi. How can both be one? Karma yoga and sannyasa. Leaving karma is sannyasa. That's exactly Krishna says, no. Sannyasa is leaving your attachment to results and doership and enjoyership. That is karma yoga also. Then why two words? Because in karma yoga you practice. In sannyasa it is natural. In karma yoga you practice. In sannyasa, it is natural. That's all the difference. So, sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragmihi na cha akriyaha. Niragmihi, not one who maintains the fire. That is, a householder has to maintain 5 fires. 5 fires. There are different names, technical. But we don't have to worry. In ourselves, there are 5 fires. Fire of the eye, want to see the forms. Fire of the ears, sound. Fire in the belly, food. Tongue or mouth, food. Nose, smell. Skin, touch. These are all different fires and hungers in us. So, not recognizing them and just identifying with the 5 fires at home. Leave them. That means leave your home. Akriyaha, stop doing a whole activity. Retire to a forest or a ashram. That is not sannyas. Bhagavan says that is not sannyas. In real essence, the spirit of sannyas is the same for jnani and a karma yogi. Jnani, it is natural. Karma yogi, he practices. Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. Yam sannyasa miti prahuhu, that which is called sannyasa, it is the same yoga. Why? Without leaving your desires and imaginations and motivations, you cannot be a sannyasi, you cannot be a karma yogi also. Karma yogi is one who has left his egocentric desires, depending on results. And sannyasi is also that. Therefore, they are not different. In both the cases, the mind has to drop its obsession with the results, depending on the results. And various imaginations. If I get this, I will do that. Then after that, this will come. After that, this will come. After that, endless imaginations. All that is called sankalpa. Today, Gurukuls, Vadyas have specialized in this sankalpa. to buy scooter, not to meet with accidents, to get a good girl, to get Varadakshana. They include everything. Okay. Anyway, there are two things, Karma Yoga and Sannyas. Sannyas is Jnana Marga, contemplation. Karma Yoga is to integrate the mind and intellect through karma. Karma Yoga to integrate the mind and intellect through karma. How? Bring the mind under the control of the intellect. Bring the mind under the control of intellect. How? By giving it a selfless cause. When you give the mind a selfless cause directed by the intellect, together they get integrated. So that is Karma Yoga. And then Jnana Marga is contemplation. So, till what I have to do Karma Yoga? Then when do I start Jnana Marga? Because both cannot be practiced simultaneously. You cannot be a householder and a sannyasi at the same time. They have to be taken up seriously. First, purify yourself through Karma Yoga, then take to contemplation. So when do I stop Karma Yoga? When do I start contemplation? That is the next verse. Aruruksho mune yogam karmakarana muchyate yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamakarana muchyate. The example here, suggestive example, not exactly said, but that is the suggestion, and also Gurudev said, riding the horse. When you ride the horse, one leg is on the saddle, another leg is on the ground. Similarly, this mind focused to the consciousness, though it is still having this ego and all that. So it's having the ego, it's conscious of the external world, but trying to align itself with the consciousness. This state where you are trying to master the mind that is extrovert being trained to be introvert, like one leg on the saddle, one leg on the ground. So the process of climbing the horse, the process of integrating the mind and intellect to completely turn their attention to the self is Karma Yoga. Having mastered the mind, having got up on the horse goes where you want to go. Having mastered the mind and intellect, having integrated the mind intellect easily rest in the self. So the process of mastering the mind is Karma Yoga. The resting in the self is contemplation and meditation. Aruruksho munehe yogam karma karana musyate. Yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamah karana musyate. Shamaha is quietude, peace, meditation. Till you master the mind, Karma Yoga. After that, meditation, contemplation. And what is the sign of my achieved the state of yoga, integration? Yada hinendriyartheshu nakarmasvanu sajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudastadochyate. What is the sign of my mastery over my mind or achieved the perfection of Karma Yoga? What is the sign? Yadahi na indriyartheshu, na karmasu anusajjati. When you do not align yourself, get attached to the senses, sense objects, and to actions. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. You have renounced all desires, preoccupations, imaginations. Then you have become an integrated mind intellect. You have succeeded in Karma Yoga. You are now fit for contemplation. Good, good. After that, Uddhare Atmanatmanam na Atmanam avasadaye Atmaiva hi Atmaiva bandhu Atmaiva sorry Atmaiva Atmano hi Atmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanaha Atmaiva hi Atmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. You are your friend. You are your enemy. You only have to change. Because a lot of people say, Guru's grace, God's grace, please bless me to get meditation, for my mind to stay calm. A Guru, God, can give you what you don't have. They can. But what you have, you are covering with your own volition, intent, ignorance. It is you that have to drop. Whatever they have to be dropped, you have to drop. Whatever you need, they will give. You wanted a guru, God gave you a guru. You wanted knowledge, Guru gave the knowledge. Now you have to act on yourself. Supposing I put my hand in a jar of chocolates. I went to Dubai. Kavita shows me a jar of chocolates. I'm so greedy. I want to hold so many. My hand won't come out. What can Kavita do? She has to tell me, please drop a few. Take it second time. If I drop a few, then my hand will come. Kavita cannot help in that. God also cannot help. Guru also cannot help. You are your friend, you are your enemy. Drop all the false notions, imaginations, desires you have. Then you are your friend. If you are hanging on to them, you are your enemy. That's said in the next. That is, in this verse, it is said, you are your friend, you are your enemy. Who is your friend? Who is your enemy? Under what conditions you are your friend? Under what conditions you are enemy? Next verse. Bandhura atmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmanajitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. One who has conquered himself by the self, that is, conquered his ego, conquered his mind by his focus onto the self, by his attuning, attaching to the self, staying there. One who has brought the mind, intellect under his control, and naturally the senses. He is his friend. Anatmanastu, one who has no control over himself, one who mind runs as it wants. The intellect is not able to control the mind. The mind is not focused to the self. Such a one is his own enemy. And what happens when you are in the state of equipoise, called Yoga Rudha? What is that state you gain through contemplation or meditation? जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्तयुक्त्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः. Such a man, such an integrated man who has mastered the mind, yoga rudha, who has become an adept in karma yoga, jitatmanaha, conquered his self, prashantasya, peaceful, paramatma, he has become one with that, or identified with that supreme self. That supreme self that he is, when he has conquered the lower self, become peaceful, samahitaha, collected all the disarrayed thoughts, same in pairs of opposites like Sita, cold and heat, or honor and dishonor, pain and comfort. One who has found balance in all these things, who is satisfied in himself with the knowledge that he has and the experience, vijnana. Knowledge is jnana, experience is vijnana. One who is satisfied with the knowledge and experience, kutastaha, stays unaffected by the anvil on which the rods are broken. The anvil receives all the blows, but it doesn't get affected. So also, this self can receive the onslaughts of the body, mind, intellect, but it's not affected. Kutastaha, vijitendriyaha, one who has conquered the senses, yuktaha, integrated mind, intellect, ityuchyate, yogi, he is called a yogi. Who? Samaloshta. To him, losta, cloud of earth, stone and gold are same. He doesn't have that discrimination. He will treat all same. Gold also, diamond also, and earth also. No, he won't. He knows gold and diamond. So if somebody gives, he will give it off to somebody. Not that he will throw it off. He will give it out. He has no value. He has no value. He has the same value for the earth, because sometimes you need air. Because of earth only your crops grow. Because of earth only you can have bricks and build the house. So you need everything. He recognizes God in all, but no special value for anything, because he doesn't need your gold. He doesn't need your diamonds. You know, when we prostrate to Guruji, Guruji sees the person and gives. If I prostrate, he will give me a plantain, because easy to peel off and eat before I go home. And to somebody, he will give an apple, who will take it home. Like that. It's all the same for him. He has no value. A diamond, a gold, or this thing, because for him, no extra value, any of them. He doesn't need them. So that's all it means. Not that he is indiscriminate and throws them off. He has no value. He will give it off to somebody. Some of you who has known Gurudev, like Kavita has been his host. I don't know whether she has noticed. Somebody brings a gold watch and gives. He was already wearing one, somebody gave. Now the new watch he will take, that gold watch, whoever is there, if he thinks he's the right person to receive, he will give it off on the spot. That's what Gurudev used to do. That's all. They have no value. You give. And Gurudev also said, somebody asked, why you are a sannyasi? Why do you need silk shirts and gold watch? So Gurudev beautifully said, I am a beggar. When I go house to house, somebody may give me kanji. Somebody gave me, there is a birthday party in their house, laddu. Different people give me different, I can't question them. Similarly, I am a sannyasi. Some people give me cotton shirt, I wear it. Some people give me silk shirt, I wear it. Some people give me a chain, I wear it. I have nothing to do with all of them. They give out of their love. I want to accept that love. That's all, the simple fact. So that is the attitude of a sannyasi towards a stone, earth, or gold. And now, the practical hints to start meditation are given. Basics of the initial steps of meditation. Yogi yundita satatam atmanam rahasistitaha ekaki yatachittatma nirashira parigraha. First, even before we go to physical steps, this is important. You must first withdraw your mind from external preoccupations and rest it in the self. This is symbolically said as in solitude. He remains in solitude. Solitude need not be ashram or Himalayas. There your mind can work like a devil's workshop. For many people in the house amongst the crowd, they can be alone. Loneliness and aloneness, you have to know. A man with a lot of people can feel lonely. And a man with people or no people, he always revels in himself. He is alone. Crowd, no crowd does not matter to him. Yogarato va, bhogarato va, sangarato va, sangavihina. Yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. Whether he is in yoga or bhoga, whether he is in company or no company, what matters is Yasya brahmani ramate chittam, whose mind revels in that Brahman. Such a man is a yogi. Nandati nandati nandatyeva. He revels. He alone revels. So where your mind is, there is important. So solitude means withdraw the mind from all external preoccupations, rest it in the self. Ekaki, alone. That same explanation. Yata chittatma, having controlled the mind and intellect. Nirashi aparigraha, free from hope, means hope is future. Aparigraha, possession, past. All your agitations belong to the mind. What is mind? Cut off past and future, there is no mind, there is no ego. If you focus on the work that you are doing, not allowing your mind to go to past and future, the mind is in the present. There is only one thought, the work. One thought, single thought is not a mind. Flow of thoughts is called a mind. So past to future, when you allow the mind, it's called the mind and the ego. All worries belong to that. Cut off from the past and future. This is said symbolically, free from hope, free from sense of possessions. That is cut off from past and future. And then, now, the basic arrangements. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya stiramasana matmanaha natyutritam nati nicham chailajana kushottaram. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. Shuchau deshe, in a clean place. Sthiramasanam atmanaya, with a firm seat. Not ati uchitam, not ati nicham, neither too high nor too low. High, you may fall down. Too low, you may get cramps, chillness. Chaila ajina kushottaram. One after the other. Kusha, grass. Ajina, deer skin. Chaila, cloth. Because in those days, they were doing forests and all that. So to protect from insects, they used to have grass. To protect from chillness, grass, then insects, deer skin, then that is rough. To make it smooth, a cloth. So these are all non-essentials. If somebody can meditate standing in a bus, so do not go strictly by them. They are suggestive. Gurudev used to tell a joke. He met Gurudev and said, Swamiji, I heard your talk on chapter 6 meditation. Beautiful, 20 years back. So you've been meditating last 20 years. No, Swamiji, I'm not meditating last. Why? I'm not able to get a deer skin. This type of silly mind we have to drop. They are all non-essentials, right? They change from time to time, person to person. And on that seat, what are you supposed to do? Tatrai kagram manak krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavishyasana yunja yogamatma vishuddhaye. Sit on that seat, control the senses for purification of your own self. Meditation is a process of purification because in contemplation, you drop all negative thoughts. Not only that, when in meditation, the mind is quiet, the subconscious mind comes out, like the churning of the Milky Ocean. The hala poison has come out. Many people get nervous. In meditation, for me, all sorts of thoughts come and it's restless. It's a good sign. All the dirt is coming out. Allow it to come out. So therefore, purification of the self is one of the process or one of the necessities or one of the goals that is achieved in sitting and doing meditation concentration. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan nachadam stiraha samprechyanasika gram swam dishaschana valokayan. Keeping the body, head and neck in straight line and not moving, focusing as though on your nose. Disascha anavalokayan, not being distracted in different directions. Prashantatma vigatabihi brahmachari pratishthitah manassamyamya matchittah yukta asita matparaha. Prashantatma, that serene-minded. Vigatabihi, free from fear. That is, some people are afraid of a quiet mind also. Like, they say a famous story. A fisherwoman could not sleep in a flower shop. She needed the fish basket. So they are used to so much of garbage and crowd and all that. So they are upright. So free from all fears. Otherwise also, you may have your business problems, several problems. In the seat of meditation, give an auto session to your mind. 10 minutes, please cooperate with me. I will pick up all the problems later. So that auto session works. Brahmachari vratesthitaha. Brahmachari is not a celibate or an unmarried man. Brahmachari is who is walking in the path of Brahman. Manassamyamya, controlling the mind. Matchittaha. His intellect is engaged in me, thinking of me. Yukta, integrated. Asita, says. Matparaha, having me as the goal. Matparaha, having me as the goal. Yunjan nevum sadutam atmanam yogi netamanasaha Shantim Nirvana Paramam Mastam Tam Adigachati. Yunjanevam, thus sitting, Sada, all the time. All the time means in the seat of meditation, whenever is the time, yogi, this man who is integrated, Neta Manasaha, having controlled the mind, Shantim, Nirvana Paramam, the supreme peace, the supreme state of bliss, Massamstam Adigachati, he attains my state. Attains means this is not a journey in space. This is journey in dimension. The dreamer attains viveka. There is no travel in space. It is to withdraw from one dimension and to be in the other dimension. And then some precautions. Natyas natastu yogosti na chaikanta manasnataha na chati swapna silasya jagrato naiva charjuna yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha na ati asnatastu, don't go over it. Na ekantam anasnataha, do not fast too much or too often. Na cha ati swapna silasya, do not sleep too long, nor do not be awake all the time. Jagrato naiva charjuna. All in balance, moderation. Yuktahara viharasya. Moderation in ahara, food, inputs to all the senses. Ahara is not merely through the mouth, through the eyes, through the ears. Balanced in that. Vihara, you need entertainment also. You cannot be all the time focused on seriousness. Some relaxation you need. Watch TV for some time, allow. Viharasya, yukta chestasya. You know, chesta means these unwanted gesticulations. You know, too much of shaking the head, too much of shaking the hand. All those things you don't need. Karma, activity. Yukta swapnava bodhasya, moderation in sleep and waking. And such a person is freed from sorrows. Is freed from sorrows. Why? Because his mind is balanced. When his mind is balanced, he is happy. So the mind that is engaged in different activities is extrovert. Such an extrovert mind is ever agitated. A mind that is withdrawn from that extroverted activity, rests in itself, is free from all the sorrows. So therefore, dukkha, he conquers sorrow. He annihilates sorrow. And now he gives certain signs for us to recognize whether you have progressed in meditation or not. What are the signs? Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyeva atmanyeva vatishtate nispruha sarva kamebhyaha yukta ityuchyate tada. When this controlled mind rests in the self, free from any longing or attachment, from all desires, that mind is an integrated mind. Yatha deepo nivatastaha nengate sopamasputa yogino yata chittasya ninjato yogamatmanaha. His mind at that time is like a mind that is like a lamp that is kept in a windless place. It doesn't flicker. Similarly, his mind doesn't flicker. Yatro paramate chiddam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. Yatra uparamate chidattam niruddham yoga sevaya, where the mind is restrained through the practice of yoga. Yatra chaya eva atmana atmanam pashyan, where the self sees the self. The self means the mind intellect sees the self. And he is so happy with that. He is satisfied. And sukham atyamtikam yattad buddhi grahyam atindram vetti cha vetti yatra cha evam ayam stitaha chalati tattutaha. When this yogi feels that infinite bliss, sukham atyamtikam, anta end, atyamtikam, there is no end, infinite bliss. Buddhi grahyam atindriyam, which is beyond the grasp of the senses and the intellect. Vetri yatra na chaivayam stitas not yatra na cha evam stitaha chalati tatvataha, where na chalati tatvataha, he doesn't move from his own essence. Stitaha, having firmly established in his own self, na chalati tatvataha, he doesn't move from the reality. So these are the, and then one more. There are some more we'll see next class. We have done up to 21. We have done up to 21. Rest of the things we'll see next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam